Alright guys, now if you guys are unaware, after every update that COD Mobile drops, either the movement or the sensitivities feel a bit different, or they don't feel different at all. And so because of that, I'm going to be giving you guys an updated version of my best sensitivities to use in the best class setups to use. Now these class setups are not currently the best ones to use in terms of meta weapons, but these are the setups that I use in my current armory. Anyways guys, I hope you guys do enjoy this video. Let me know what you guys want me to make next, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Alright guys, now starting up on number 1, we do have the AK-117. Now please ignore the names at the bottom, those are not accurate at all. But with the AK-117, I actually do have this mainly because it is one of my all-time favorite weapons to use, especially since I made a bunch of videos on this weapon a while back. But the main reason for this as well is because I'm hoping it does get a buff in the future updates. But with this current class setup, the attachments that I use are the monolith suppressor, the MIP light barrel short, the no stock, OWC laser tactical, and the granular grip tape. Now with every setup there is, I will be having a video pop up, or you guys can just search it up if you guys do want some more information on these weapons. But without further ado, let's get on with number 2. Now up on number 2, we obviously have the one and only, the Pp19 Bison. This is also another one of my favorite SMGs to use, mainly because it does have 64 bullets, and because they have 64 bullets in this weapon, I usually like pre-firing and spraying a lot and wall banging through walls, so this is the weapon for me. Now I actually do think this weapon is still a top weapon to use when weapons do get banned in competitive, but not that many people use it. But without further ado, the attachments that I use in this weapon are obviously the monolith suppressor, the MIP extended light barrel, the no stock, OWC laser tactical, and the large caliber MOA, which is the key attachment to use when it comes to using this weapon. Now up on number 3, we do have the OG MX9. Now I know a bunch of you guys might be mad about this. I kind of do miss the MX9 meta because of the strafing speed and the movement that it had. Now keep in mind, the build that I'm going to be giving you guys is actually movement based. The recoil might be a bit iffy since it did receive a nerf over time with these new updates, so it's not really that good anymore. The PPSH or the CBR4 are obviously better, but if you guys want, these are attachments that I use. I obviously use the built-in silence barrel, the agile stock, the infiltrator foregrip, the large caliber ammo, which is key with this weapon, and obviously the firm grip tape. Now as you guys can see, the mobility is 110, which is what I was talking about. You guys can obviously just ADS with this and just roam around the whole map, and it is extremely satisfying whenever you do those strafe left and right kills. Now up on number 4, we obviously have the Swordfish. Now I for one thought that I was only going to be using this weapon when it comes to, I guess, the videos or whatnot, but I actually have been in love with this weapon mainly because it is an actual one burst, and it's just extremely satisfying whenever you do hit that one burst. If you guys are unaware, I did make a video on this recently. You guys better watch it. I ended up dropping like 70 kills, and I basically technically should have dropped 2 nukes. I'm not gonna be spoiling too much. I kind of did spoil a lot, but if you guys want to check that out, make sure you guys do that. I actually made it 2 days ago, I believe it was. But enough talking. The setup for this weapon is obviously the tactical suppressor, the classic red dot sight, the YCam light stock, the OWC laser tactical, and the halberd mag, which is key with this. Now obviously you guys might be wondering, why the heck am I not using my usual monolith suppressor? Now the reason for that is because it's pretty simple. The halberd mag does actually increase your, I think it's damage range by 100%, so the monolith suppressor is kind of useless. But without further ado, let's get on with class setup number 5. Alright guys, now up on number 5, this might be your favorite weapon to use in this current meta, because I know it's one of mine. But this is the CBR4. Now the CBR4 is actually, I would say, the best SMG in this current meta, and if it wasn't for that, it would obviously be the PPSH. But because of the range and the, I guess, sense of recoil control you can get with the CBR, it's actually much easier to use than the PPSH. Yes, the PPSH does kill faster in terms of close range, but if we're talking overall range, I would pick the CBR4 any other day from the PPSH. Now for this setup, I've obviously am using the monolith suppressor, the MIP extended light barrel, the YKM light stock, the OWC laser tactical, and the granular grip tape for the extra BSA in those long range gunfights. And like I mentioned previously, if you guys do want some in-depth info on each gun, I have made a bunch of videos on these guns, so make sure to check out my channel if you guys would like. But no more talking, let's get on with class setup number 6. Now up on number 6, we obviously have the Type 25, one of the most toxic metas, because this is when persistence started getting used a lot, matching up with the Type 25. But Type 25 is still a viable weapon to use in this current meta. I wouldn't say it's the best because the kilo does take that number, but the Type 25 is still viable enough to go up against other ARs such as the M13 and whatnot. Now, for the attachments for this, I would actually recommend using Model Expressor, the RTC Steady Stock, OW Laser Tactical, granular grip tape, and the 38 round extended mag. Now, one thing you guys can change if you guys would like, you guys can obviously change out the granular grip tape and actually put the disabled perk, which is even more toxic, and it's actually way more viable to use with the disabled perk. But I'm not going to give you guys any ideas. Let's get on with class number 7. Alright guys, here we do have the number 2 weapon in combo as of right now, and that is the M13. Now the M13 is really great, especially since it does have 60 bullets in its mag. Well, at least the class that I use has 60 bullets, which means you can pre-fire, shoot any amount of times you want. And the one thing that helps this case is that it does have an extremely fast ADS time, causing you to win majority of your gunfights based on the ADS time that you have, which basically means you have an advantage since you aim in faster than everyone else with their other weapons. Now, the setup that I use for this weapon is obviously the RTC silencer barrel, the nose stock, OW Laser Tactical, large extended mag B, and the granular grip tape. This might be a bit different than my previous M13 class setup, is because I've been playing around with a few, and this is personally one of my favorite ones. I might make an updated video on this, I'm not too sure, but this is the one to go to if you guys are trying to pick out the M13 for your next game. Up on number 8, we do have the OG SMG, which is also the Fennec. Now, a bunch of the Garena players and a bunch of the Eastern players, I believe it was, from the World Champs use this weapon, especially, I think it was like Omega Esports, I think. I could be wrong, I'm not too sure, but I know they used it a lot, and so did Blacklist, and so did Almighty Esports, if you guys are familiar with those names. But this is the weapon that they all abuse, and it was perfectly fine. I still think the Fennec is viable, but because of the CBR4 with its range, I think that's why people are using that a lot more than the Fennec. But for the attachments on this setup, I am using the Model Expressor, the MIP Extended Light Barrel, OW Laser Tactical, the Operator Foregrip, and the Extended Mag A. Now, obviously, you guys can switch out one of the attachments for disabled, but the one that I would recommend switching out is probably the Extended Mag A. I don't know, that's just my opinion, but you guys could beg to differ. But let's get on with class number 9. Now, up on number 9, we do have the Holger, which is completely toxic by itself, but I actually did make a video on it recently with the disabled combo, which made it even worse. We even managed to almost break the record for the fastest nuke. Unfortunately, I did choke it, but the gameplay still does have nuke gameplay, so if you guys want to check that out, make sure to do so. But for this setup, I would recommend using the Model Expressor, the MIP Light, the no stock, obviously the disabled perk, which makes it even worse, as in it makes it even more toxic for everybody and not the gun itself. And last but not least, we obviously do have the OW Laser Tactical. And last but not least, we do have the number 1 gun that is currently in the game, and that is the Kilo 141. Now, I am absolutely in love with this gun. Unfortunately, in competitive, there has been a new system where before any scrim or tournament, each team decides to do one ban, and everyone always bans the Kilo, which means I don't really have that many opportunities to use this gun. But in the moment that I do, I obviously do pop off with this weapon, and the attachments that I use is obviously the Model Expressor, the nose stock, OW Laser Tactical, large extended mag B, and last but not least, the granular grip tape. Now that we're done with the class setups, let's go on with the settings. Alright guys, now here is the HUD that I currently use in the game. Now obviously it might be a bit covered on the bottom right because of my hand cam, but here I'm going to be showing you guys. The only thing you guys are really missing is obviously the nade button right here. I'm just tapping it on the bottom right for you guys to see. Now besides that, everything else should be visible. Now if you guys are a bit confused on what I do, I actually do use claw, which means I play with 4 fingers. And up on the screen right now, I'm going to be showing you guys a picture of what every finger is used for. Now, yellow is actually my left index. That's actually what I use with my index finger on the left side. For that, I just use the shoot button and tap the scoreboard to see how everyone is doing. On the bottom left, we actually have a left thumb, which is green. Now, for that, I actually use my movement pad, the plant and defuse bomb, and the score streaks. And then on the red side of things where it says right index finger, I actually use majority of my buttons, which is my movement, which is the jump, crouch, scope, map, and I think the settings button or like the emote button, whatever, but that's really useless. And then on the bottom right, which is the blue, I actually use my right thumb, and with that I use my operator skill, my reload button, my nade, and obviously switching my weapons back and forth and picking them up from the ground. Alright guys, now here are the basic settings that I use. Obviously I'm going to be going really slowly throughout them. I'm not going to be really explaining it too much, since you guys can just pause and pick which button like you guys want to use. But one thing I do want to talk about is obviously the damage number. Damage number basically shows me how much I'm hitting people for whenever I'm shooting them, which is good in some scenarios, since you can see I guess where you're shooting them from if you're wallbanging, which gives you some sort of info. And then everything else should be pretty straightforward. Always sprint, which means my sensitivity with my movement HUD doesn't really allow me to sprint automatically. I kind of have to touch it lightly to be able to walk, I guess. And my camera FOV is obviously 78, and FOV FPP is obviously 100, which means when I'm ADSing it's 100 FOV. And then obviously the camera FOV, which is where you're looking around the place, it's obviously 78. And then marker settings, that is personal preference. You guys can use whatever, in the minimap settings is whatever. And we are done with that. Let's get on with the sensitivity. Alright guys, now here we do have my sensitivity. As you guys can see, it is pretty similar to every other settings video I've made. My sensitivity is pretty slow. The reason why is, guys, I actually use these things called finger sleeves, as you guys can see on the right here. They basically make my fingers really consistent whenever I do swipe the screen. It is really smooth, which means the consistency with my fingers is always the same, and actually allows me to swipe my screen faster. But obviously my camera sensitivity for standard is 69, 48, 48, 63, and 33. Now for the 3x, 4x, 6x, and 8x scopes, I really wouldn't recommend using my sense, since that's not really set. I never really use those sensitivities or those scopes. I've never really focused on them. And then for my firing sensitivity, I obviously use a 40, 47, 47, 50, and 40. And once again, the 3x, 4x, 6x, and 8x scope I wouldn't really copy down, because like I said, they're not really accurate in terms of how I should have been using them. And then for gyro, I obviously don't use gyro at all. You can really just play around with this and just, I guess, have fun with it. Like I said, it is completely turned off for me, so it does not matter. And then gyroscope fire sensitivity obviously does not matter as well. And then for BR and zombies, I don't really play that, so there's no need to show you guys. Alright guys, now that is going to be the video for the sensitivities and the class setups that I use in this current season 2 of 2022 COD Mobile season. And without further ado, if you guys did enjoy that video, I'll see you guys in the next one.